Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Christy. We're up and running here. Let's have some fun over the next 15 minutes. You're going to see a presentation around one of the highest grade gold discoveries in the world today. And we're very privileged to be the custodians of it, without a doubt. So I'll just race through here to the first page. How do you measure a discovery? How do I make a statement like that? Well, we've drilled about 50 kilometres into this discovery to date. The hit rate, if we take, say, the 100 gram metre hit rate and divide it by the amount of drilling, you won't see any deposit delivering at that frequency. So it's spitting out a lot of gold. It's getting better, and I'll show you that in a moment, but it's globally leading in that respect. There's a lot of other aspects around the project that we'll go through. So clearly we need to demonstrate grade. This is one of our key KPIs in the company, if you like. This is a unique proposition, and that's what sets this project apart. We're only about 3% into the way in terms of drilling out the discovery. It's a big system. It's got district scale. Big systems have big footprints, and this has that. So we've got a long way to go. We're very much at the start of the process. You've got to drill lots. We just heard that in the last talk also. So we've got 4 rigs there today drilling, a 5th coming in the next month, and then a 6th coming in September. So we're drilling and drilling lots. There's a lot of other aspects around this project that make it compelling. It's simple metallurgy, nothing different than a mine down the road. You've got to be funded. You've got to have the money. We've got about 14 million bucks in the bank at the moment, as we're just about to close a rights issue that was done at market 3 weeks ago, and we're just rounding that out. It was massively oversubscribed. We've got permits. We can drill pretty much anywhere, keep those drill rigs turning. We own the freehold land. We knew we were onto a discovery after 15 holes. We're over 100 holes now, about 120. So we purchased that land at hole 20 about. So we knew we were onto something, 133 hectares. From a capitalisation point of view, here's what it looks like. A couple of things to point out. We're becoming more institutionalised, as you'd probably expect over the last 6 months. A lot of buying on market from some of the larger institutions here in Australia and also around the world. This is very much also a North American story for 2 reasons. One, that it was spun out of a Canadian company which owns 50.5%. That's Mawson, and Mawson's made statements that it plans to aid in the consolidation of the asset, not have 2 parts, part in Canada, part in Australia. The aim is to consolidate that into one company and have it dual listed both in Canada and Australia. And the Canadians love this style of gold. They made $10 billion on a mine down the road, Fosterville, in market cap appreciation from about 2016 to 22. So they know what they're looking at, and it's really been the Canadian market that has owned this space in Victoria, where this is located. In terms of intersections, I don't really want you to look at these. I want you to focus on a few things in detail. Obviously, here's the length, here's the gold. There's a lot of gold. We've talked about that. There is an antimony piece to this story. I'll mention it a little bit later, but it's about 20% in situ recoverable value. It makes it a critical metals project. It's a very real part to the project. Antimony is one on the critical metals list of every advanced nation, and that's essentially for a defence issue, and this will be one of the key projects in the Western world to restart that supply chain. The other key point is that the top 5 intersections here have come in the last 6 months. So we're drilling, and we're drilling lots, but it's getting better. How does that look in terms of if we just did an Excel spreadsheet? This is for all the mathematical nerds out there, and maybe I'm one of them, so just bear with me for a moment. Here we have time on the x-axis. So this is when we floated the company. We're just about to come up to our 2nd year of existence. We listed in May 2022, so that's that point there. If we just did a 2 metre at 1 gram weighted average through our 33,000 assays, or 30-odd thousand assays, we can see that the average width has stayed pretty consistent at around about 4 metres for every intersection. But something magic has happened there with the grade. And that is almost reflective of the share price if you plotted the two together. It's, the cumulative average has got better and better to where it averages over 25 grams. I don't want to conflate this with any resource or average grade through the deposits, the average grade of an analysis of the database, but it just shows that the grade has been improving. And why is that? Why is that? Victoria is well known for this style of gold in the blue circle here. Bendigo and Ballarat built out the expansion of the English Empire, Melbourne, and really a lot of Australia in the 1800s. And that's what made Victoria famous in that period, but rather infamous from about the 1970s onwards, when people tried to get a lot of these up and running again and they failed. The simple reason is because they have a high CV. There's another mathematical term, coefficient of variation. It's a way to measure the consistency or erraticness of any data set. And in gold we do it. And these deposits have a high coefficient of variation. What is lesser known in Australia, and the Canadians know it better because they have two mines operating in Victoria today owned by Canadian companies, is that there's another style of gold, completely different, formed at a different time, formed in a different space, that has a low CV. So they form nice, modern, reconcilable deposits. And when they form these deposits, this is Fosterville, which is owned by Agnico Eagle today, 100 kilometres from us, but the same style, geologically, forms the highest grade gold mine on Earth. So for the last 7 years, this was the highest grade gold mine on Earth, producing at 40 grams. It was the lowest ASIC, the lowest cost. And it was the highest margin deposit, and it was a top 10 producer. So it was producing at 600,000 ounces a year, which is a lot. We have another one of these discoveries. When you're in this yellow box, you want to go deep early because the geology just works beautifully. The geology changes and you go into a brittle, ductile regime is how we say it geologically. But all you need to know is they get very good at depth. And that's why we're drilling from, the mineralisation starts at surface and we're going down to a kilometre depth. Let's race through here. And I've lost my ability to draw on this, but you can see Melbourne. I'll just have to go back and forward here. Sorry, I've got a technical glitch. You can see Melbourne. It's just immediately north of that is just next to the M in Melbourne is the project. And you can see perhaps Fosterville is FOS, 100 kilometres to the northwest. The orange deposits are the ones that you want to go for. They're the ones that get very much better at depth. The green are the ones that made Victoria famous in the old days. So if we just focus in here, and I'm going to be in a bit of trouble here because I'm still not able to draw on this, so you're going to have to bear with me. We see our 100% owned project in the lower right-hand corner. And if we just zoom in here, we can see that there's a bunch of stars in that orange box. That's our focus of our main drilling. And just bear with me here, please, I'm just going to turn this on and off because it's going to be a much better exercise for you if you can see me draw on this. Sorry?
Are you sure of that?
Yeah.
You guys right?
Yep. No, I'll just restart it here. No, we're not going to.
We can visualise it.
We're going to have to visualise it. Okay. This will put me under a bit of pressure. Okay, so in that orange box is where we focused. The stars going out to the northeast are 10 kilometres away. Big systems have big footprints, and that's exactly what we've got. And look at that, just like magic, we've got it again. So I can now spin this around. Okay, very nice. So here we have the system extending out through here. And if we just focus in on the key part of the area, you can see in green, the green area is our freehold land. We have the key area named with all the old mines there, looking out beyond. So we've secured that freehold. And if we just zoom down now and start looking at the geology in that key area, I can just zoom that around and you can see that there's the drill holes under here. We'll talk about that in a minute. But this is the geology and this is the magic that makes it quite a targetable deposit. That low CV means that we don't have to drill as much as if you had a high CV, so it lowers your cost of capital. Having a very targetable horizon like this is very much the case. So we say that our mineralisation, looking down, is like a ladder. The sides of the ladder are like this and the rungs are like this. There's 45 rungs that host the gold, but they're always contained within those rails that extend for 10 kilometres out through here. So that's what makes it very targetable. If we were to then look and go underground, we can start to see that is in 3 dimensions there, and you can see that the dots, which happen to be the gold, are very much focused within that green rock. And you can start to see some of the highlighted drill intersections here as we show them. The yellow holes are the holes that are in the lab, so there's always news flow here with 4 rigs flowing, so you'll always see news flow coming out of Southern Cross. The rungs of the ladder going to 3 dimensions start from surface, go down to 1 kilometre, and each one of those is anywhere between 2 to 10 metres thick, and we can trace them, any one of those, over 600 metres down dip, and in this orientation they're 20 to 100 metres long. So there's lots of them. Some of the very highest grades you can see there, the gram metre hits are extremely high grade. And that's what is getting people excited, because we can start to see some of those very high grades are forming close together. Those 2 red dots there are 1 metre at 2,000 and another 3 metres at over 270 grams. And that's what's exciting, because we can start to build tonnages in this project if we start drilling, or small tonnages but very high grades, by drilling around those. So that's one way that we're looking at this deposit. The other way that we're looking at this deposit is by expanding it. And so it's just very early days, as I said. If we just take off some of the areas that we know less about, and with this variable ability to draw on the screen, it's a bit harder to show you. But this is what we know a lot more about. These veins here in the deposit here are shown. There's a lot of hits outside of that, over that 1.2 kilometre trend. Now, what we know in that grey area is where we put an exploration target together. Too early for a resource, and please read all the disclaimers about that in our detailed documentation. But 40 kilometres of drilling, dealt with very professionally, top cut at 25 grams and 67 in the range. In the grey area, we have 1 to 1.6 million ounces. But the key point at 7 to 10 grams. The key point is, though, that's only just very much a start. So you can see those green dots, if you like, going out to the left-hand side, are where we've got mines, old mines, historic mines, and these hits. And that's the area that we can start to see, and I can draw on it again now. That's the area that we're expanding into, also out through here as we find more, and down through here. So that the yellow, which I'm describing now, to the blue and that little bit of red is a much smaller area. So we can see ourselves going to 3 million ounces at that grade that we've already given you an indication of. And as we collect more information, we believe that top cut will rise. So 3 million ounces at 10 grams is on that slide. We know that these systems continue down to 2 kilometres. This is only 1 kilometre here, and remembering this slide is only 10% of the 10 kilometre trend. So there's a hell of a lot more to drill into, and you can see that we're now drilling into these areas. So I've got the 1 minute left. I think we can spin out of this and just look at that larger trend. You know, we're very much on the first parts of the exploration of this project. It's some of the highest grades that you will see in the space. It does have this antimony piece that we briefly spoke of. It was kept open during World War I, this project, by the Imperial Munitions Act. So it's a very similar exercise that was happening over 100 years ago as to what's happening here today. Metallurgically, it's free gold. Over 80% is free, so it's a simple flow sheet that we've identified. It's the same as the mine down the road, Costerfield. We have a gravity product and then a float product. So nothing too funky about that. A lot of work going to the ESG and social side, environmental side. We have 50% women on staff. We need to be a very much a first-rate mining company to operate in this environment, and that's who we are, and that's who we are going to be. So I encourage you to join us. You're going to make money out of this stock by us making it bigger, so keep an eye on the exploration results. This is growing to be a very significant project. And with that, I think I'll thank you very much.